Ralph Ellison said in 1970, there's something so embarrassingly absurd about the notion of purging the nation of blacks that it seems hardly a product of thought at all. It is more like a primitive reflex, a throwback to the dim past of tribal experience, which we rationalize and try to make respectful or respectable by dressing it up in the gaudy and highly questionable trapping of what we call the concept of race. That was a statement by Ralph Ellison in 1970. And despite the amendments to the Constitution, despite the affirmative action, despite the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and despite all the most significant and critical contributions to the United States of America, we still believe that they do not want us in this country. As a matter of fact, Marcus Garvey started something back in 1821 where they were sending Americans back to Libya, Africa. So they fly the American flag over there. This is the Black News Network. I'm War Smith, your host, along with a couple other hosts, which will be Mr. Chuck Slaughter and Mr. Claude Foster. We don't own the rights to the music, but we do own the rights to what we say. We should have a couple of more guests coming on. So with that, I want you to realize that today's topic is living in America without black. I mean, black people just leaving this country and letting the white folks have it because that's what they want. So let's talk about it and see what we can come up with and find out why we feel so neglected in this country. First of all, I want to say thank you, Mr. Claude, for joining us today. Would you like to give us an opening?
Well, that's an interesting. Good afternoon, my brothers. That's an interesting topic. I can't. First of all, I can't imagine an America without black folks because I don't think that there would be an America without us. So I can't imagine one with that that didn't include black people. And I know we have never really been fully integrated into America. And I think that leads to your question as to what would America be like if we left. There's been attempts for us to leave. The government even tried to remove us from this country, but we're still here. So I think the question should be is why haven't we fully been integrated into America? Because first of all, I don't think that a back to anywhere movement would work in America. I just don't think that the black mindset. This is our country. We helped build this country. We've defended this country. So I think that we got to get rid of we ourselves have to rid ourselves of the notion that we're not fully American. We are. And so I think we can begin there.
That's a very, go ahead.
Go ahead.
That's a very good piece of information. Mr. Chuck, would you like to give us an introduction?
Yes. How you doing? I hear you on that question. What would America be like without us? I think that's what the topic is. What would it be like without us? Okay, I remember seeing that documentation, and it goes into a lot of different things that we have invented and caused and used today, like the stoplight. If we had never invented the stoplight, what would America be doing now? Running over each other. I think that's what the question is looking at, the things that we have contributed to America, and what would America be like without those things?
That's very, very interesting. One of the things that I want to mention is that they colonized this place here in America, this Northwest Africa in my mind. That's where we are. So by them colonizing our country, they really wiped us out. I want to play a short a segment here, and I want you to listen to what this guy had to say. It's on colonization.
Can I give you the definition of colonialism? Yes.
Colonialism.
Is a process. It's a process of aggression by a country against a people that takes land, exploits resources, indigenous people, destroys indigenous culture. Again, they Tobyized us. So it destroys indigenous culture and then requires that the culture of the colonizer be accepted as the standard, which is why we are speaking English right now. Colonialism demanded that the culture of the colonizer be accepted as the standard. We became African American. America became America. We became Africans. Sisters around here as hostages. We were Zulus in America. Yoruba in America. We were Igbo in America. That's the part we forgot. The process of colonialism literally beat that out of us. One generation after another, for a few centuries, as our ancestors were removed from Africa, Africa was removed from us. So can I give you the definition of
Okay, now listening to that, what do you think? What do you think about that? I mean, that's a really serious statement he made there about color. I catch hell trying to say that word. Go ahead, Claude or Chuck, either one of you.
Well, unfortunately, I really couldn't understand what he was saying. The audio wasn't good at all.
Okay.
Well, the whole purpose of, well, he was talking about colonization. And, you know, I keep referring you guys to books like Black Skin, White Mask that was written by Franz Fanon back in the 50s about colonization. Colonization is designed to, colonization creates the conflict that a person has about who he is or himself. Are you, you know, are you black on the inside and white on the outside? Are you, just who are you as a person? You know, you're like, if you're in France, do you speak French? I mean, we don't speak African in this country. I mean, I doubt if you could find any African American born in this country that could speak the language of which they came, whether it was Yoruba, with the last slaves brought to America down in Mobile. I doubt if you could find any descendants that could speak their native language. We've been fully colonized. I guess the question becomes is, are we going to continue to is colonization leaving this country is an option. I think if you made it volunteer and you say I'm going to pay you to go, I don't think some black folks would want to go.
I think you're right.
I just think that we've been. I mean, this argument that we're not Americans, I mean, we can look back on history now, and Harold Cruz talks about it in The Crisis of the Negro Intellectual. And you look at some of the strategies that we've employed, like integration and some other things that we know haven't worked. And we see the results of that today. So I just don't think that, I don't know whether, Marcus Garvey and his Back to Africa movement, didn't pan out. I just, the African American is a unique individual. I think we're more unique than, say, the French or the British or any of those other countries. I mean, there's a certain characteristic about us that makes us uniquely American.
Right.
But the thing that denies us full opportunity of being uniquely American is our skin color, is the color of our skin. So how do we develop strategies, whether they're political, social, educational, to realize the full scope of that Americanism? How do we get there? And I understand what you think. I mean, we can talk about, we can talk about, you know, a back to Africa movement or leaving this country, but I'm telling you, we are so Americanized. African Americans, at least, wouldn't go.
Yeah. It's many of us that have we've been back to the other country, to the mother country. We've thought about it. Some have made the move. I'm watching some videos almost on a weekly basis of people that are relocating, but not only to back to Africa, they're going to Vietnam, they're going down to Brazil, to Belize, they're moving, they're going to Mexico City, they are leaving. These are all black folks, and they're setting up home, and they're making more money, and they have more comfort than they do in this country. And
But I
because
agree with you. I agree with. I'm just
Mhm,
saying that. But that's a lifestyle choice. That's saying like I'm going to go to Thailand because I can get an apartment, I can live comfortably off $800 a month. I can
mhm,
live, and it would cost me $800,000 a year to live the same way here in the United States. So
mhm,
people are making economic choices, but that's
mhm,
not based on the color of their skin. That's based on economics.
mhm,
If economics wasn't a factor, and we know
mhm.
why that is a disparity between certain racial groups in this country, is
Yes,
based
we
on
do.
race. So even though they're
Yes, we
making
do.
an economic decision, and we can argue that it's based on race that they're going to Thailand and these other countries to live,
Mhm,
it has nothing to do with their African Americanism. It has more to
mhm.
do with
One
economics.
one of the things I said about one of the things I said about us being African American, black, whatever we want to call ourselves in this country, is that we are the youngest. I said this in my book, Leave the Dirt in the Cotton Field. We are the youngest species of people in America, in this country today. There are no other species being created on the planet. We're it. We're the last one, and we have yet to solidify our definition of who we really are. I mean, we you look at the different things that we've been called since the inception, since we first in 1619 when they first brought the first blacks here. We've been called Negro, we've been called colored, we've been called boy, girl. You know, we've been called everything except what we really are. I mean, African American sounds like what we should call ourselves. Black sound like what we should call ourselves, but those are not categorized by God. So when you start to give, like, this is a man-made name. If you coming up with black, African American, colored, all those names are dictated by people here on earth. But a nationality, which this group of people, our group of people, have yet to establish, takes us out of the mainstream of America, of not America, of the world, because we're not recognized as a group. We're
Let me ask you a question. When do we become? I mean, we've come up with these titles. I mean, you have British, you have Italians, but they don't go around calling themselves British Americans or Italian Americans. Why do we have the why do we
I can answer that.
why do we call ourselves African American? I mean,
They don't
our
have to.
ancestry African is our ancestral homes wherever in Africa we can, whatever country, because
Mhm.
Africans were sold by other
For two
Africans.
reasons. Two
So what?
reasons, Claude.
Okay.
One, the first reason, we're the only culture of people that did not migrate to America on our own. That's the first reason. The second reason is we have created an entire different species of people here in America. Now, Chinese born here in America, they still speak their language, they still practice their cultures. I
But
mean,
that's
Italians
but
still
brother
speak their language, they
but
still
brother
practice
Bay,
their
but
culture.
that's a product of our policies in terms of trying to achieve equality.
Mhm,
That's a byproduct of the integration strategies and some of the other strategies, political as well as social strategies instituted to try to become fully indoctrinated in this country. Other groups haven't gone through that, haven't had to go through that process, if you will.
Okay. Why do we? Let me just ask you this, Claude, and you can come back. Why are we so bent on integration when our fearless leader said that he's afraid that he's brought us into a burning house? That by coming up with this integration stuff. Why?
Well, first of all, we didn't come up with it.
Mm-hmm.
The organizations that manifested that ideology, that wasn't initially, that wasn't us. The founders of the NAACP and the strategy of integration, school integration, the whole concept behind integration was it wasn't so much to integrate the school system. It was to try to make us equal in society,
Mm-hmm.
as if color never mattered.
Mm-hmm.
That it was the laws that made us unequal, rather than the color of our skin. That if we change the laws,
So
then
when you think that trying to integrate in America and with this skin color and this complexion is like pissing in the wind. I'm just using the most raw statement I
because
can.
how can you?
There is no way
Because this
they'll
skin
allow us to do that.
because this
Huh?
skin will not allow you to fully. This skin
You
is
can't
an
integrate.
indelible mark.
All right, tell me one thing that's been integrated here.
Well, I mean, so if you look at the purpose of integration, society has been integrated. People can pretty much live where their pocketbooks allow them to live. People
Mhm.
can, I mean, there are no restrictions in society other than economic restrictions.
Mhm.
But
How
the
many
economic,
times?
but the economic restrictions have a direct link to the color of our skins. You
Why do
can't
we want
put
to?
that.
Why do we find it our responsibility to go move to their neighborhoods to live in neighborhoods that they live in? And at that point in time, when that first black family get in that neighborhood, I've seen it happen with my own experience, where a black family moves in, and then you start to see all the homes start to become vacant because they're moving out. They're moving farther to the suburbs.
Well,
Because what is this about? You know?
Houston has about 23 different suburbs. They
Mm-hmm.
go from anywhere from about 1% to 1 to 2% African American, all the way up to like about 20 some percent. There used to be a tipping point in America. I think it's extended now because of maybe equalization in economics a little bit. But the
Mm-hmm.
tipping point used to be around 10, 11%. That's when blacks moved in,
Mm-hmm.
whites move out, and
Mm-hmm.
the whole complexion of the neighborhood would change. I think
Mm-hmm.
that tipping point has been, I, th- I think from a progress standpoint, that tipping point has been extended, but it's not, you're never going to find a neighborhood 50% black and 50% white.
Never, never. You're not. Where is there a 60% neighborhood with black? I don't know. Where
Well,
can we find a neighborhood in this
well,
country with
I
60% black?
sent you guys an NAACP and Brookings Institute study that the
Mm-hmm.
NAACP partnered with the Brookings Institute to produce the Black Progress Index. It's a new analysis of the places where Black people are striving most as measured through their life expectancy. And it's curious to look at, you can pull up San Antonio and
Mm-hmm.
Bexar County. But in every one of these cities, whether it's Selma, Alabama, San Antonio, Texas, and I sent the link to you guys. And I guess I have two
What's it
responses.
called again? Is Black Progress what?
It's the Black Progress Index,
Okay.
and I sent the link to you, and I sent it to Chuck, and it's something that we ought to share. But you know the irony of it is, you haven't seen this study published in any black press. Because one of the key takeaways for me, and this is something that Chuck always talks about, is the number of. Let me pull up San Antonio. Let me pull up San Antonio. It's the
Mm-hmm.
number of fatherless black homes. Over
Mm-hmm.
50%. 50% is like the minimum.
It's fatherless home. They have no man in the house. That's what you
said.
said.
Man in the house. Over 50%.
But don't you think that's by design? I mean,
But is that a consequence? Is that a consequence of integration? Is that one of the negative consequences of integration?
Yes. Well, I think by virtue of us not having a man in the house, it is a negative result of trying to limit Black people from forming the nucleus that we need to expand, and that is the family. So by destroying the family, they destroy our culture. And that seems to be the objective of many people in this country that are not melanated. Because every culture, you go to the Chinese, they don't like you. You go to the Italians, they don't like you.
Okay.
You go to the white folks, they don't like you.
Let's
you
look at
can
this.
go in any community here in America where that culture will like you. But you can find every one of those cultures with nothing but them in that area.
Right.
And you can't find that for us. We've always been open-hearted and accepting of other races. But they want us gone, but they cannot survive with us gone. So
in Bear County,
how can they keep telling us to get the hell out of here? But every time you turn around, they're trying to things have to happen with us here.
In San Antonio, New Braunfels metro area, 51.0% of Black children are not living with their father.
Is it possible to post that so we can see it? I don't know how.
How do I post that? Let me see.
I don't know. We'll figure it out later though. But go ahead and read it. What did it say?
Okay, it's 51% of Black children not living with their father. And it's got other data like percent of Black religious adherence per capita in San Antonio is like 544.3, and there's some interesting data about that in terms of the family and church. You would think it would be something positive, but it's negative. Black firearm fatalities per capita in San Antonio, New Brunswick, 13.3. It's like the 47th percentile. It's some data that I think that the community can really embrace, but the Black press won't run this. This was done by the Brookings Institution by a guy, and the author of the study is this guy, Andre M. Perry, who wrote the book Know Your Price. But he's a professor at the Brookings Institution. He did the study in comparison in partnership with the NAACP. You got an NAACP branch there. You ain't heard nothing about this study. And so
I don't understand it. You got an NAACP branch all across the country.
Well, we got the Black press here. None of the Black press here.
That study.
I mean,
so that killed me, huh?
And it's on every county in this country. It's on in every city, every municipality, and it's.
But no NAACP pushed it. We have none that push it. Ours ain't said nothing.
I haven't seen any information about this study, and it's on the NAACP's website. But the NAACP membership is only about 250,000 people. But what I'm saying, the Black press should be running this.
This report.
Historically Black colleges and universities should be holding Zoom meetings to discuss the report. I mean, it should.
Nobody's doing it.
Nobody's doing it. That's that.
Well, let me take us to another level. We came here not willingly as slaves, right? So once we get here in America, they beat our cultures out of us. They beat our language out of us, and they forced us to labor so they received their riches. So now we come up with the Emancipation Proclamation where they proclaim that every person of melanation is supposed to be freed off the plantation. But as soon as we get off the plantation, They brought us here that we didn't want to come, and I'm trying to the way to contrast between them bringing us here when we didn't want to come, and now they pull up with the black codes because they don't want us to be here, and then they come up with Jim Crow because they don't want us to be here, but they brought us here when we didn't want to be here. So now that you got us and we've flourished, we've grown in this country, now you're coming up with these little things that make us not able to be, not able to integrate, not able to sustain, not able to feed our families. So now you come up with another rule saying, we'll pay for you, we'll give you food stamps, we'll pay for your rent or your house. And that way, only way we'll do it though, is you kick the man out of your house. That had to be a very strategic plan to get that man out of the family structure. I mean, that's what bothers me so much when they fight so hard to keep us from prospering. And then you got, but they don't understand our feelings about.
Well, you have to ask yourself, were those policies made with good intent? I mean, you got to remember,
they're not good intent.
I mean, most of the policies you're talking about was under Democratic administrations. Okay, were they good intention? Do you think that they understood do you think that those policies were implemented not understanding the negative consequences as a result of those policies?
I think
in every city, when you look at our young people now and what they're doing and breaking into these stores and all this kind of stuff, is that a direct result of men not being in the home in over 50% of the home in almost every city where
absolutely it is a direct result. It's a direct of that father not being involved in that child's life, for one, and it's a direct of the economic restrictions that have been placed on Black families and Black men more in particular. So now all these young Black people, yeah, there you go, use that voter registration card.
But let me say this though, because there's something I want to point out on this voter registration card.
All
right. We're both from the South, the deep South. You're from Mississippi, which is strong ties to equality and voting rights. Same thing in Alabama. My congressman, 9th Congressional District, African American male. My state senator, 13th Senatorial District, African American male. My state rep, 27th Representative District, African American male. My county commissioner, African American male. My justice of the peace, African American male. Now, we thought, I'm sure Fannie Lou Hamer thought, John Lewis thought that this right here was the key. That this is the key. That this is the key to our empowerment in this country. If we got political rights and got people in office that look like us. But the stats I told you about the San Antonio are the same stats here in Houston, Texas, are the same stats in Selma, Alabama, and all of that government is ran by Black officials.
So, and you still don't get any results from it.
So it's the same thing in Jackson. Most of the Black officials in Jackson are Black.
Corruption, yeah.
So is this the key?
In my opinion, it is. That is the key. I mean, we're going to get some people in these positions. We're going to elect some people in these positions that's going to straight up screw us out of the little bit of gain that we've already made, because all eyes are on every Black person in every political position in this country. And they make a simple mistake, they're going to get capitalized on that mistake and removed from that office. But at the same time, they have done this.
But brother,
you get in the position you can't do it. They've been doing it for the last 50 years, but you get in the position they don't want you to do a damn thing but sit there.
But brother Bay, what African American politician in office representing majority Black folks have been held to that degree of accountability where they have been voted out of office? Name one. Anywhere.
Let's look at Marion Barry. Marion Barry voted in the office, but they busted him, they surveyed him. I mean, why are the eyes are all on him before he got busted with the cocaine? Why everybody watching every move he make? But you got J. Edgar Hoover up there loving his man, but nobody saying a damn thing about that and taking money and telling people to put taps on Martin Luther King. Nobody saying anything about that. Every one of the black men in those positions have to be walking on eggshells because the moment they do any damn thing, drink one beer, somebody gonna pull them over and take them to jail, and it's gonna be all over the country.
Well, I mean, but don't you think they ought to know that?
Don't you
think Kwame Kapati?
Oh, you talking about the black man?
Right, in the position. Don't you think that they ought to know that?
Absolutely. I think they do know it.
No,
because they know
it. You think Jefferson had $93,000 in his refrigerator? You think he should have known that?
They just found a congressman with $300,000 in his house and $500,000 in gold in his house. But you ain't heard nothing else about that. Let a black person get that. He's going to the damn jail. They're going to confiscate it and lock it up.
Because we don't control the press. I guess what I'm saying is, if this voter registration card means so much, and power is in this, why are our elected officials trying to be like everybody else and enrich themselves, knowing the blood and how many people died to get them in that powerful position in the first place?
Because there's corruption on every level, even in black people, in our people. We got so many organizations. I came up with two things. One, who controls the most black people in this America? Two things: the church and fraternities. They control probably 75% of our culture in this country. So if black people are controlled by the church, and the church is on almost every damn corner, and they don't come together, then that ain't the white man's fault. That's our fault. Just like that black politician in there gonna try to do just like the white man did, but he gonna get busted for doing the exact same thing the white man did. And that is what's happening. And I accept it. I can see it. I saw it. The black man trying to act like he has lost his culture and his melanation, and now he's trying to act like he's a part of their culture. And the moment he steps out and do what they do, he gets busted, and now he gets dropped back down to another nigga. That's right. What they do. They bring you out of your position. Oh, that's an uppity nigga there. That's what they're gonna call you because you won the election. And now their target is to get you out of that position. And they do. But we ain't that, we smart as hell, but we do dumb things sometimes. And 6 out of 10 elected officials gonna do something stupid. Look at Paxton. He just got charged with what? 16 charges, and not one he found guilty on. Look at Donald Trump. 91 damn charges and very little finalizations where he got charged. The thing I'm saying is, black people cannot do what white people do and get away with it. They are going to be held to a higher standard, and they will be removed so damn quick, and they're put away in the corner so we don't have to deal with them no more. The standards are so high for us. It's very different. My problem with that is we gotta vote. If we don't continue to vote, we cannot not vote. If we pull ourselves out of politics, talking about we ain't voting until you do right by us, we are going to put ourselves up for failure, because now you're allowing all them white people to run every damn government position in the country, and the people who run the government positions control the money, and the money is what makes the difference in our communities. That's what makes the difference. You can live over here because of the money. But if you ain't got the money, you're gonna live down here somewhere. And then you subject to lose that because you ain't making no money. And they make sure that they are not gonna allow you to make a bunch of money in these jobs if you ain't got the education and the smart to get out of that situation. They're gonna ensure that you stay there. And that's what I think America has done to most of us, is put us in a category where we cannot prosper. They don't want us to prosper, but they don't want us here. They don't want us in mainstream America, but they don't want us to go away either, because we provide something for them that they cannot live without. And that's what we've been talking about. They cannot live without us, but they don't want us here. They want us to stay quiet, stay over there working at McDonald's, stay over there sweeping the damn office out when they go home, and not say a damn thing and not even talking to them anymore. As long as we can do that, they're happy with us. Like, I just saw a skit about a man in Mississippi. He's a poor black man and about 7 or 8 white men standing around him. And the white man say, "Hey, Billy, we doing good by you, ain't it?" And Billy say, "Yeah, so we you doing us good. We treat you right, don't we, Billy?" "Yeah, so you treating us right. You treat me very good, sir." You know, what if he said, "No, y'all treat me like shit"? He'd have been dead before the sun went down. See, it's a different standard. And if we don't change the way we look at it, if we don't get involved, we screw.
But it's more than that. Like, if you go back to Mississippi, if I go home, if I go back to where I was born,
dead in a month.
No, if I go back to where I was born, if I go back to Dixon Mills, Alabama, in Marengo County, where I was born, there was at least 9 to 10 plantations in that county. You know what's on those plantations now?
What?
Some of the most dangerous waste disposal sites in the country. Right in the middle of where Black life is, in the Black Belt. And so our politician, I mean, when you look at our health outcomes and all this kind of stuff, and you wonder why. Mm-hmm. And people accept those kind of industries. Well, the states, especially the southern states, they put them right where Black folks are on purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they built our homes on a garbage dump.
Right.
And everybody in the neighborhood got cancer.
And the Black people that run those counties now, they're so in need of money that they accept those garbage dumps because they're able to provide jobs, provide revenue for the county, and that kind of stuff. So we're in this conundrum. I just don't see our Black elected officials addressing these kinds of issues. That we're more focused on the white man's coming to get you, rather than focusing on the real issues that are impacting our longevity, our livelihoods, our quality of life. And that's why Alabama just got the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the redistricting in Alabama. Alabama's going to get another African-American representative. That's significant.
Okay, let me just ask, where's Chuck? Is he still here? Chuck, you need to come in here, boy. We having a damn knockdown, drag out conversation, and you missing it all.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Chuck. Get in. I don't mean to.
Yeah, I've been listening. There's so much going on, and you guys had a good flow going, so I didn't want to really interject. But there were some things that were saying that, would like to make a comment or two on. Mainly. I got my wallet. I'm sure candy. Yeah. That's from school, right? Yeah. Mainly, I'm gonna go back to the voting issue. Okay. One of the things I learned from the documentary I listened to, Hidden Colors, and one of the things that the scientists and archaeologists and people are saying on that documentary is that voting is not what's going to give us what we want. We can participate in it. It's just a process. We have the right to vote. We go out and vote. Do we get anything for our vote, though? Until we find a way to empower our vote to where it will benefit Black people, especially first and foremost, then it's just a right that we have, that we exercise, but it doesn't do anything to uplift us as a culture.
You think we should not vote? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I guess what I'm saying, what Chuck is saying, that the money follows the interest. all the money that's coming into the state of Texas from George Soros and these other Democratic financiers is focusing on the Hispanic vote because Hispanics are going Republican. Why you think they haven't? If the black vote is so important and 90% of blacks in Texas are Democrats, why are we having the state convention in El Paso, Texas?
Right.
That doesn't make sense to me. So we are expendable because we are taken for granted.
Right.
We are.
Right. And
It's like we don't have another choice. We're gonna go Democrats no matter what the Democrats do, no matter what policy agenda they come up with, because that's our only option. And as long as we're held to that, we're gonna always these stats. The reason why they don't, you know why they don't publish these stats in the newspapers and stuff? Because they don't want black people to see them. And the black press, you would think that the black press would, there's a study for every city in this country that's got black folks. Everywhere there's a black newspaper should be running that study. It ain't by no wrinkly.
Yeah, and the reason why they don't, Carl Booker explained to us why they don't.
Yes, he did.
It's economics.
What did he say, Chuck?
No, it's bigger than that. It's economics, but it's political. They don't want black people in the midst of an election to see data like this.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Their funders don't want to see that, so that's why they won't print it because their funders will take away the funds.
The branch in San Antonio or Houston, the big city branches, Dallas, San Antonio, and Houston, they haven't even publicized it. It's not on their webs. It's on their websites only to the degree that you got to find it once you go to the link. You got to be looking for it.
So who do you think should be at the forefront of getting this study into these newspapers?
Well, I think the branches should have been the ones that
the NAACP branches.
Yeah, the branches. It's their report. The report was done. It's the NAACP and Brookings Institute report. So it's the local branches that should be making sure that it's disseminated in the communities.
But the local branches haven't said a word. So that means that
I don't know whether you guys haven't seen the
down.
report. You guys are pretty accurate.
That was one of these you want.
I don't know whether they've said a word. I haven't seen the report in any kind of black press. No, maybe I missed it.
Well, the word was at the top. You said the NAACP was part of the study. So what you're saying to me, what I'm hearing is that NAACP has not pushed that report down to any other level.
Right. It's the Black Progress Index examining the social influences that influence black well-being. Andrea M. Powell and Jonathan Rotwell in partnership with the NAACP. It's on the NAACP's website.
But they haven't pushed it to all the chapters.
They haven't pushed it to all. Well, some branches
with instructions. That is,
some branches don't have the capacity. The national office could make sure that this is ran in all the black presses in the country. That's what they do. They run.
Well, Chuck had a meeting with the local NAACP.
What I'm saying is that the report is probably out there inside of like how I got it. I'm a member. They said the NAACP has a new media department. They send out information on what the NAACP is doing. I'm saying that the report is inside that. So unless you are connected with the NAACP, but broadly speaking, the NAACP has 250,000 members at the most. About a quarter of a million people at the most. I'm saying that the black press throughout the country represents the black community. They have to pick this up and publish it.
The black press will not publish civil rights, even civil issues, because they are afraid.
Because this study
will go black if they are black paper, but if they advertise and market the struggles of black, then their funding will start.
See, Brother Bay, that's the crux of the problem when it comes to lack of awareness on the part of the black mass. No, but we don't. There's nobody like back in the day. They used to publish pamphlets. or you had the Chicago Defender newspaper that they put on the trains and distributed that newspaper throughout the South so people could get information. We have all of our information sources are part of the corporate monopoly.
Yeah, we don't have
We don't
a
have an
information source that
right.
promotes things like we're talking about here.
There's nothing. But that would
there's
that
no
would be
news
nothing with
station
stopping
I think most
about
of the
what we talk about.
that would be nothing from stopping the NAACP in San Antonio from hosting workshops or hosting meetings to go over that report.
But they won't do it. They ain't.
But they haven't
What
done
say,
it.
Chuck?
That will be a part of it.
Chuck?
Chuck.
Oh yeah, I forgot what I was going to say, but asking the NAACP to share that study with us, we the people ought to demand that they share the study with us. Like you were saying, I did speak with Dr. Hupstep, whatever his name is, about this Asian guy that pulled a gun on these two black teenagers and for no reason at all made them get on the ground and all that kind of crap. And they didn't seem to be too interested in it. They wanted to speak directly to the victim so they could sweep it under the rug. See, NAACP is sweeping shit under the rug too much. So we told them, I said, well, what we'll do, we'll investigate, turn over our findings to you to further investigate. And then if it's needed and they need legal assistance, hopefully we'll be in the position to provide that legal assistance for them. That's why we're the African American Legal Defense Fund. And we're representing people of color, African Americans primarily. So he was a little bit concerned about who we were. But that's okay. We're your ally, not your.
Back up a minute. I want to make sure I hear you right. You say you're primarily Black American. Primarily, what does that mean?
We're focusing on the welfare of Black people first and foremost. But that don't mean that we won't take under consideration the mistreatment and inhumane treatment of other people as well.
When you say other people like who?
Well, like people living in poverty. When we do the Poverty Vote America campaign, it's just not for Black people. It's for people that are living in poverty and still struggling today to get a job when corporate America is taking jobs away from the poor rather than putting them to work and kicking them off of your taxpayers' dollars.
Let me ask you a question about this, and I don't want to go Malcolm on you, but do the other people in poverty, like the white people and stuff, do they have avenues to other resources that Black poor don't have?
Yeah.
So why do you feel the need to have them? So why would you feel a need to provide services to them, over your Black poor?
I didn't say over Black people. I said Black people first and foremost. It's for Black people. But we are humanitarians.
You don't have to defend it. You don't have to defend it. But see, your language is the kind of language that's that diversity talk. It's almost like we're afraid to take care of Black folks. Like we're afraid to say Black only. That we're
not afraid to say that. We're not afraid to say that. We're not afraid to be a B1.
No, I don't mean to put you in a bind. I'm just saying, broadly speaking, that's part of our problem.
But that's what you said, Chuck.
I know what I said.
You accept anybody.
Huh?
But primarily Black.
Yeah, and I think you felt the need. I think you felt the need that you had to say that because being just for Black people.
Because one of the things we talk about is being Americanized. We have become colonized as Americans, branded as Americans, whatever. They took our language away, took our respect away, took our self-respect away. Made us to give us these European names. We don't have an identity and all that bullshit. Yes, it's there, but it's up to us to change it. And how do we change it? Huh?
What about LULAC?
LULAC takes care of their people. They don't give a damn about us.
They
only do Hispanic people. They don't do Black people.
And they don't say.
You got Black people patronizing them over there, though. I
But
think if black people went to if a black person went to them asking for help, we don't go ask these people for help because they represent their people.
Chuck,
Our people like to come to somebody that represents them, that looks like them and represents them.
no, LULAC will work with the NWC when it's in LULAC's interest to work with the NAACP. But I've never seen it in reverse. I've never seen a black organization working with LULAC because it was in the black organization's interest.
Well, I don't know what was happening that year.
LULAC have worked with NAACP. LULAC worked with NAACP because it was in LULAC's interest. I've never seen it in reverse.
Okay. I don't know how it was that year up in Austin when they made history. LULAC and the NAACP came together on the steps of the Capitol to call for the Felons Voting Rights Act and something like that. They come together when we were doing the Lock the Vote campaign.
I said it was in their interest, yeah.
You know, but Gary Bledsoe and the head of the NAACP united together. Now, if that was in the best interest of whose best interest it was in, it probably was in the best interest of the LULAC. It probably was, because most everything. What happens here, we are, what blacks need to understand in America is that we are the trendsetters in America. Everything we do, every trend we start, other people pick up on it and start promoting it as something that they have done or that they're doing. You know, so we are the trendsetters in America. And I feel like if we change our attitude and start living the type of a livelihood, lifestyle, or whatever that promotes positive growth and change, there will be followers from the Hispanics and white. There will be followers that will follow us and be like us. When we started growing afros, they grew afros. When we went bald, they went bald. You know, every person say teach them how to sing and dance like a nigga, and they can make millions of dollars. And they still doing it today.
Making millions of dollars.
Right. Acting and dancing and acting like a nigga.
I find that there's a lot of confusion in what direction we should go in. And it's been a confusion for the last 50 years. And I think that confusion exists because we don't know much about our past. Our past in America is understood from the Civil War to present. If we go back and learn our religion, we go back and learn our education system, we go back and learn how to produce our own economy and who we really are, then we can move forward. We can't move forward without knowing where we came from. And that's basically where I think we are right now. We don't want to look behind us because America done conditioned us not to look behind us. But you can go to any Mexican, you can go to any white boy, and they can take their history back 600, 700, 800,000 years. But you can't find a black person. You might find one in a million black person that can take you that far back. All this damn genealogy stuff, all that's doing is telling you what you possibly could be and where you possibly could be from. But they're not telling you this is your tribe. This is your genealogy that takes you to that tribe. But they said you might be 31% from Nigeria, 18% from Scotland. You know, all that bullshit. That ain't telling you who you are.
No, it's not.
You ain't learning. You don't know. You still don't know who you are. Because we
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. How many black people do you think living in North America now care about who they are, where they came from?
Not very many.
You know, not very many at all. Because what we want is we need forward-thinking people to think about, yeah, we need to know where we're going, not where we come from, because when we concentrate on our history and where we come from, we continue to live in the past. So we got to break that cycle of living in the past and start living for the new world.
So what you're saying, Chuck, you don't want nobody to know that they are they have ancestors that were slaves, and that they are a melanated person, and that their parents had to go through the civil rights movement. You don't want your people to know that?
I think most black people, in America today, they know that they're the descendants of slaves.
Oh, hell
But
to
some
the
people
no.
are telling you,
Black people don't
some
know
people
this
are
stuff.
telling you not. Huh?
They don't teach it in school. Where they gonna learn it from? Most of them
They
got
learned it from
parents
their,
under
they learned it
30,
from their
40 years old.
ancestors.
They
They
ain't
learned it
teaching
from
that.
their, they learned it from their ancestors.
Their ancestors, they don't connect with their ancestors, Chuck. How they gonna learn something
We
from their
did.
ancestors when they're not?
We did.
You just said you don't think nobody should be
Your
looking back. They
immediate
should be looking
ancestors
forward.
is your first line to your history. Your immediate ancestors are your first line to your history. Now, how far back they take you, but every one of our ancestors took us right back into the slavery and the hardships and stuff that happened in slavery. And then once we grew up and got
All
out
right,
and went to college,
here we
we
go,
started
Chuck.
learning more and more and more
All
about it. But
right,
our ancestors,
I ain't trying to. I don't want to get personal. My kids know our genealogy as back to 1897.
and
Do
I
your
applaud you
kids
for
know
that. That
your
was a
kids?
personal decision you made. I applaud you for that, and I have no problem with it. But
I'm asking
it
you,
ain't something that
did you
I had
teach
to
your
concentrate.
kids?
It ain't
Do you
nothing that
think it was
mine.
worthy of teaching your kids that type of history?
I'm trying to teach my kids how to survive in this racist ass country we live in today,
They don't
and
need to
how to
know
save their
your
lives,
parents and their great grandparents'
and to get
name.
a get and to get a good education because it was denied to your ancestors. So get that education. I'm trying to live in the future for the future,
Mm.
and I know that the past was brutal and hard on us as black
But do
and our
they know that?
ancestors.
Do
Huh?
they know? Do your offspring know the struggle that we went through? We even went through it
Apparently,
at our
you know
age.
what? And
So
apparently
do
they
they
don't
know
really
what
want
they
to
can
know.
face? They know what it can be like if we allow them to run over us. If we
Yeah,
allow,
but do
if
you?
we sit back and become passive and sit our ass back and let them walk all over us every day and not do a damn thing, then what do you think they're gonna do to our children?
You're
These
gonna try
people
to do
got
the
no,
same
no,
thing,
no
but you know what the attack is? You know what the attack?
what?
The attack is on our youth today.
What,
Hell
Chuck,
yeah.
They've been
Ugh.
attacking our youth today. They don't prepared our youth and branded them not to believe in your parents. They don't know what they're talking about. They
Because
old.
because of statements just like you just made that we
Chuck,
don't want to look back. We want to
Chuck,
look forward.
why do you think Trump is signing up so many young people to vote? Why do you think he's appealing to so many young people?
He bamboozled them. He's bamboozling them. The way the Democratic Party did us, and we voted for him. We still voting for him. And I've talked to young people out here today, and they're talking about he's a businessman, and he's this, he's that. It's about the money.
But that's
They
what you
chasing
just
the
said, Chuck.
money.
That's what you said. You just said that's what it's about.
What?
You said you're teaching your son how to how to maneuver in this world, how to survive, how to make money. It's about you're
Right?
saying
How
people
to make money?
they don't know their history.
How to make money, not to chase money. When they go up here and they vote for the Republicans, they're chasing the money. When
Do
you
you
go
think
out there and work hard and earn it, then you're earning that money. You'll feel better about it and more proud of what you did. But when somebody's giving you something, you don't value it that much.
You're
For
right, but
instance,
they're not allowing you to get out there and make a decent living, Chuck. They will. I mean,
that's
they see you moving up.
that's true. That's true. That's why
You're the
we
first to
need to
get
start.
you're the first to get fired, the last to get promoted, and the first to get laid off. So you're not. You're the lowest possible requirement or a person that they have on their roster, and they bring you
What's
in
the simple?
only because of
What
stuff
what is
affirmative action. And
what is
now
the
that
solution
there's
to
no
that?
more affirmative action, we ain't gonna have no black people in Princeton, in Harvard. They're not gonna be accepting them in those prestigious schools anymore because affirmative action is what got the blacks in there to start with.
and
Not only the blacks, but the Chinese too.
And let me
you,
just throw
and you
this.
got you got blacks out there that's opposed to affirmative action, keeping their own people down, kicking the ladder out from under. I can't remember that old guy named from California. He was one of the worst back in the 80s, talking about we don't need affirmative action. I think Obama, he might say something about we didn't need affirmative action.
He said that's not how America works.
Something
Obama
like that.
said that.
Yeah. But I said, as long as there's racism, we need affirmative action. And if we don't step up and make this election should be about racism and affirmative action.
But they've already overturned affirmative action.
And they've already turned Roe versus Wade, but have they stopped fighting for it?
We've stopped fighting for affirmative action.
For Roe versus Wade?
Where's the fight? Where is the fight right now for affirmative action?
Hey, Chuck, hey guys, right now in San Antonio, 38.1% of Black public school children who score at or above proficiency on state math exams. Only 38.1% of Black children.
Compared to what the whites did.
This is just the Black Progress Index. Mm-hmm. But 38% is 38% on the 100% scale. Mm-hmm. So only 38% of the Black children, and these are mostly middle-class children in San Antonio. So there are some factors as to why only 38% of them are scoring at or above proficiency on state exams.
I think it's because these kids don't know who they are, how valuable they are.
I believe
they don't know their history, so they don't have no expectation for the future. Because
and they're not studying their history.
Give them that information.
They don't want to. I mean, is knowing about Thomas Jefferson going to inspire and motivate you to achieve? Is knowing about some other white guy going to inspire and motivate you to achieve? Our whole curriculum,
but we believe,
is racist.
So who discovered America?
It's designed to.
You know what you're gonna say, right? If somebody asks a child right now who discovered America, they're gonna say Christopher Columbus. That's right. And that is so wrong.
Who's the father?
Like that, huh?
And there's nothing that instills a sense of blackness, Black pride in that child.
Yeah.
In the years.
That's what I think we miss.
I mean, that's gotta. If the schools are equal, if the funding is equal, if everything's equal that we fought to make because of integration, why is it only 38.1%?
Because the whole school only has one Black teacher and the rest of them white, and they are focused on their own. That's where it boils down to. But we've been on a little over an hour, so right now, Mr. Foster, go ahead and accumulate your final thoughts while I give out a couple of more pieces of information. The most dangerous person in America right now is the colonized Black man. In other words, he's no longer thinking like an African or an African American or a Black. That colonized Black man is thinking about how we are to assimilate ourselves into the way the white America want us to be. Congress is in turmoil, and it's in turmoil because Donald Trump is making them do as he say. Not as he do. He tell them to do as I say, and they do it. That is so disrespectful to America. Right now, we're in a position where so many things are happening in our country where we are going to get our butts handed to us. Look at what's happening down in Texas right now, where the state then took over federal property, and they act like they running shit. But see, and then the 2 Americans just got killed over in Iran, and we haven't retaliated on that. So it's just so many little bitty things happening here. It shows the unraveling of the American culture. And it's until America does right by Black people, America will suffer. So with that, I want to turn it over to you guys and let y'all give y'all final statements, and then we'll go ahead and shut it down.
I would encourage one other stat I want to give your audience about San Antonio. You know, we talk about Texas and how Texas is good for business and how Texas is growing and how Texas has the largest African American population of any state in America. Over 3 million African Americans now reside in Texas. You know what the percentage of Black business ownership in the state of Texas is?
Less than 1%.
How about you, Brother Bay?
No, I don't know.
No, I don't know. This is for San Antonio now. I like to keep stuff relevant, and we can talk about Houston.
I got something to say about Black businesses though.
It's 0.4% Black business ownership in San Antonio.
Right.
How many? I go deeper than that. There's no contracts with the city of San Antonio. There's one contract. Let me rephrase that. And that one contract is to tear down abandoned properties.
Maybe that's maybe that's where that 0.4% comes from.
That's the only contract with the city.
And I would argue that this study, even though I disagree with the NAACP on some philosophical policies like integration, I don't think integration was good. But I think this study is good because it gives folks at the local level an opportunity to really look at the numbers and how they impact Black people. And I think this is why the Black press is not running this, because it goes counter to their mandate and the people that they get their funding from. So I would encourage listeners that want to find more about this report is to contact their local NAACP to share this information throughout the community and start a dialogue and a greater understanding of just where we are as Black Americans and some of the solutions that we gotta take on to address some of these issues. Life ain't pretty in River City for Black folks, and this study really points that out. So I would encourage listeners to either call any of us on this show or reach out to the show if they want to get a copy of this report, and share it with the community. Hello?
Yeah.
Chuck, you right?
Chuck, are you ready?
Yeah, we lost one. He's coming back in.
No, I'm here. Chuck, go ahead and do your closing.
Well, I think we the people, we the Black people, we have to lift up our heads and start working together. Where we're being beat up is our people that have the resources, the money, the knowledge, and everything to reinvest in Black America. That's where we're losing it. Because all these other cultures, the people that got the resources are starting businesses and putting their people to work in them. That's what we need to do as well. Compete with America, okay? And then we also have to make our vote count for something. We cannot just continue to support the Democratic Party and let them continue to divide us, divide our families, divide us, all their policies, from the welfare to the child abuse law to the feminist movement. All of these little programs and things that happen under the Democratic Party was designed to destroy the Black culture. You remember, most of your racists that are in the Republican Party came from the Democratic Party. And a lot of the Democrats, there are more white people leaving the Democratic Party going to the Republican Party. And that's what Donald Trump is banking on, I believe, that there's enough white people that are going to come together to take this country back from the people of color. Because the people of color are divided as well. We don't, Orientals and Hispanics and all these people, they don't support the black culture, but they want us to come over there and buy their products and their goods and support them. You see? So we got to stand up for our independence and make America realize how important we are to this economy. We need to take our money out of this trickle down economy and start building a new wave of wealth with a bubble up effect where people can grow up from the bottom up and have a program designed to just do just that. We should not leave no black people, no black person behind in this country. We cannot turn our backs on each other because we're all we got. And I'm a Harry Tubman, fighter of the 21st century. We know we are free. We need to act like we're free and get out there and stand up and be brave and tall and strong. As they say, we're from the land of the free, home of the brave. We got to be brave. We cannot be cowards. And that's what they're banking on. White boys banking on us being cowards until we get out there and show them just who we are. And I don't know if these young brothers that's come up behind us is ready for that kind of action. And that's why I say that's what's so dangerous right now is they're using hip hop, BET, and stuff like that to brand our young people to believe that they have made it. And the next thing you know, they're running around here killing each other with oozes over drugs and women and stuff like this. Our young people are in trouble. We done fought the hard fight. But now they're complaining to us, you old folks are in the way. Y'all need to get out of the way and look at the mess you left behind for us to clean up. They are so disarrayed and out of focus with the real struggle that's been going on in Black America for over 400 years. They don't know they heard of it, but they never felt it like me, you, and Warren have felt it. They never worked in the cotton field. They never, did shit. Now Hispanics did, but their family was never destroyed by racism and slavery. No other culture on this earth, I don't believe, has ever suffered the torture that slavery did on our ancestors, and we must never ever allow America to forget its ugly ass history of slavery against our ancestors. In the name of love, peace, I'm out.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chuck, the civil rights activist of San Antonio. There's two little things I'm going to say, and then I'm going to proceed to close. One is this is in 2024. We as Black people have to check our morality because I'm not thinking that we're morally ready to attack this big problem that we have here in this country. And when I say morally, I mean we're not spiritually, mentally, physically, none of those things we're ready in, and we're not together enough to attack these problems. These problems are so big, but there are two agencies that really got control of our people. The one is the church. Millions of people are in church today that don't communicate with the church right next door to it. Every one of these churches we have in our communities operate on a individual basis, and that creates a bigger problem for us. They keep the barriers up. They all want the total package of everything on the block, but it can't be like that. The only thing we need to do is start working together in the churches. We got all these fraternities. We got the Masons, Black Masons. We got the White Masons. We got the Qs, the Alphas, the Omegas. We got all these different damn fraternities. And these fraternities don't work together. They come out once a year and pick up paper, but that ain't enough. I mean, if these guys start to communicate together and start moving in the same direction together and putting all their resources together, just like I'm asking the churches to do, we can be a phenomenal force. But until those two entities stop running around and doing what they're doing and creating havoc in our communities, by taking everybody's money and not giving up shit, then we gonna be in a bad situation because we want to believe in God through our church. But our churches are misleading. Some are great, but many are misleading. And that's where we need to make our corrections at. This is the Black News Network, the real voice of Military City, USA, broadcasting every Wednesday at 6 and every Sunday at 3:30 p.m. The news from a Black perspective. We don't own the rights to the music, but we do own the rights to what we say. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube. We can use that. We would thank you for doing it. Black News Network, BNN 247, 24/7, 24/7. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks to Mr. Foster. Thanks to Mr. Chuck for coming on today. We hope we have a new story next week. Same time, same place. Have a great day and take care.